That hurt. This is where I'd normally talk about my exercise, right?
Yep.
And show people different ways and different angles you could do it. But really, I think I've got something more important on my mind. Actually, it's pissed me off a bit. And I think we need to have this conversation, and this video is going to be very controversial, and there's going to be a hell of a lot of people that are going to agree with my views, and some that are not going to agree. But I don't really care because it's my opinion, and I'm allowed my opinion. I want to talk about steroids. I think there's a very, very big misconception of steroids, and I think it's about time we all woke up to it, and the justice system wakes up to it. For example, it doesn't matter what you do or how you act. If you are a reasonably large guy and you take steroids, let's say a bodybuilder that takes steroids, and you end up in trouble, it would always get used against you. Let's just say, for instance, you've got somebody who's confronting you and doing everything they can to possibly antagonise you. They're calling your mother a cunt. They're saying they're going to rape your kids. They're saying your sister's a slag. They're doing all this all to you, and all of a sudden you snap and you just go bang. And what you've done, to me, in my point of view, is that you've delivered a strike that's really, really, really fucking hard, that's just made that person realise what's acceptable and what's not. That's what I presume that your reactions would be, right? But then let's say that guy goes to the police. You end up in court. First thing they will do is ROID rage. You attacked him because you lost your temper. ROID rage. I've been in court a few times, many times, but there's been at least 2 occasions in a criminal court where I've said to the judge, and I've openly held my hands up, I take steroids, that is not the reason why I hit this guy. I hit this guy because he's a prick, this is what he did, put him in front of me, I'll bang him again. Because I take responsibility for my own actions. My father taught me that when I was a kid. If you're going to be naughty, or you're going to do anything wrong, cool, make sure you're prepared to take responsibility for your own actions, yeah? And make sure it's justified. If it's not, then you deal with the consequences, right? So I think there's a misconception on both parts, because one, people are too quick to jump and say, steroids, you lost your temper. And secondly, there's a lot of people out there that train for the wrong reasons, aren't ready to take steroids, don't need to take steroids, and do take steroids, and they use it as an excuse for their behaviour. Oh, I lost control. I'm really sorry, Judge, I'm on the steroids, to try and get a lighter sentence. And that doesn't help matters. There is no such thing as ROID rage. If you've got a short temper, you've got a short fucking temper. That's just it. That's a fact. But I think people are too quick to blame that. Same as if they get caught cheating on their missus with 3 or 4 different women. Oh, I'm really sorry, babe. It's the test. I couldn't control myself. No, it's not. You couldn't control your fucking dick. You're not going to be able to control it whether you're on the steroids or whether you're off. You're just using that as an excuse. So if you are going to take steroids, listen, I will defend people that do choose to go down that route and take it, that are responsible for their own actions, right? But then, you know, you have to, for the dickheads that don't take responsibility for their own actions, they're the ones that give us a bad name. And you have to realise that a man that hits somebody in defence of somebody that he loves is not a man losing control because he's on steroids. That is pure love and emotion that's driven him to do that. And a person, to me, that wants to be seen to protect his family, their sort of, you know, honour, you know, whether they're there or not. It's just a male thing, right? That's why they do it. Same as breakdown of relationships. You have a breakdown relationship. You could be with a guy 3, 4, 5 years, and you will have happy times together. You break up, and for some reason, I don't know, he may have cheated on you, you may have cheated on him, and then it all goes to the court straight away, again in the family court. Steroids. He's been addicted to steroids. He's a monster. He beat me. He used to attack me for no reason. Listen, let me make something very, very clear. Steroids are not addictive. That is a scientific fact. They are not addictive. It's not heroin, it's not crack, it's not weed, it's not coke. It's a performance-enhancing substance. They are not addictive. Now, you've also got to take into consideration that the person that was on steroids when you fell out was the same person that was on steroids when you used to have good times. I know, I was on steroids when I took my kids to the zoo. I was on steroids when all of my children were born. I was on steroids when I took the kids to the park. There's been plenty of times I've been on steroids during happy occasions. In fact, there's been plenty of times I've been arrested for fighting when I haven't been on the steroids. So, you know what I mean? It makes no difference at all whether you are on the steroids or whether you're not on the steroids. But my point is this, right? It's such an easy thing, really, to attack us with. If we look different to other people, we're bigger, we're stronger, tattoos. It's an easy thing to judge and to point score against, right? He's a danger to children. He beats women. He lost control. Here's another fact. If you have a guy who's bigger than the average person, who takes steroids, who's stronger than the average person, let me explain to you. If that person loses control, sees fucking red, absolutely goes fucking ballistic at a woman, or even another guy, trust me when I say that person will be unrecognisable, right? It would be a fucking car crash, wouldn't it? It will just be a wreck, right? To say the fact that you pushed him, he pushed you, he lost control, didn't really, did he? Do you know what I mean? It's, again, it's easy to throw into the equation. Same as when they say he's a danger to children. Okay, let's talk again, factual information. Let's talk in the last 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, even the last 20 years. Let's just use a 20-year gap. You name one high-profile case, or just one case, where a bodybuilder has sexually abused a child and it's been in the papers. Or a bodybuilder has repeatedly thrown a baby up against the wall and killed them, or kidnapped them. Can you think of any bodybuilders? No? Jimmy Savile, he has. I can think of Ian Huntley, he has. Who's the other one? Jason
Owen, I think.
Jason Owen?
Yeah.
Jason Owen, he has. None of them are steroid taking. Look at all the mass murderers that are in America, all the shootouts that happen. None of them are taking steroids. Am I right? These are just like skinny little kids dressed up like the Matrix, just going fucking apeshit. But they're not steroids, they're just mentally fucked. So what you're saying is, a guy who happens to have a good physique that takes steroids, that does something horrific, that's because of steroids. It's not because he's fucking mentally deranged. Because there are some out there that are mentally deranged, they just end up having a good physique, right? All I'm trying to say is this: you cannot accuse somebody of horrific things just for point scoring. Well, you can. No, actually, that's not what I'm saying. You can accuse somebody of horrific things and for point scoring, because it's allowed and it seems to be acceptable in today's. It's just fucking in today's era. I think it's wrong, and I think people are too uneducated about it. You know, I mean, what was that program? Bigger, Faster, Stronger. I mean, they even said that the biggest professors around the world and said the only danger you've got of steroids causing, the only harm you've got of steroids causing is if a big box fell off a cupboard and hit you on the head. It's like any drug, it's going to hurt you if you take too much of it. But there is no scientific evidence of ROID rage. It doesn't fucking, you know what I mean? If somebody's getting restrained by the police and he loses control and he ends up hurting a police officer and getting gassed and tasered, and he happens to be a big guy, you can guarantee it in the police statements, it's going to be ROID rage took over. The guy admits to taking steroids. Okay, maybe he admits to taking steroids. I've never not admitted to taking steroids. I've taken steroids in the past, I'll take them in the future. It doesn't make me a bad person, it's because I competed. Maybe, let's talk about that incident that created that. You know, maybe he might have had a policeman that pushed him too far. Maybe it might have been his fault and he was just too drunk. But as he's kicking off, as he's losing control, he's got more strength than the average person because he trains regularly. Do you see what I mean? But in their statement, you can guarantee it will be steroids. Just like if you're poorly and you've got something wrong with you and you happen to be a course of steroids, the average doctor, if you told them, yeah, I'm on steroids, that'll be the first thing they'll diagnose. Well, steroids. No, it's not. Broke my leg. I'm on steroids. Steroids. Fuck it. No, it's not. But it's true, right? That's the first thing that they'd say. It's always steroids. Always put it down to steroids instead of actually getting to the root of the problem. And I don't know, maybe I'm just ranting a bit, but I just think it's fucking pathetic. It really is. You've got to take responsibility for your own actions. And just because you're angry with somebody and you're not together anymore, and you might be well justified in being angry with them. They might have wronged you and hurt you more than you've ever been hurt, emotionally maybe, I don't know. But talk about the facts, talk about what's actually happened. Not try and point score and make them out to be an animal that they're actually not, because that's not fair. It's really not fair, and it really puts a big shadow over our industry. On both sides, really. The people that sort of use it as an excuse, and the people that use it for point scoring. You tell about a bad day.
Yeah.
It is possible that there are some big guys out there with tattoos that are educated, but don't lose their temper over every little thing, and do know how to conduct themselves in the correct manner when needed. Don't tar us all with the same brush. I've done videos on this before. There's good and bad in every race and every type of people. I'm sure whatever a man that takes steroids has done, I'm sure at some point a skinny guy who's never been to the gym in his life has done worse somewhere. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't, what I'm trying to get at is it doesn't matter what they do, what their interests are, what their hobbies are, what their profession is, whatever it is. Everybody's different. Let's see your opinions. I'm sure this is going to cause some controversy, yeah. But I do think it's something that we should have a good debate about and talk about, because I for one, I know I get a raw deal, but the thing is, I can handle it a bit better than most, because this is my career, isn't it? I deal with trolls every day. People are trying to attack me and talking about things they know nothing about, and I just talk about facts. Then, okay, you want to talk about a conversation, or if I end up in a situation where I think I'm being judged unfairly, then okay, that's cool. I'll do a video on it. Let's debate this. I want to see the public's opinion, whether a majority of it agrees with me or a majority doesn't. Let's get it out there. Like I said, people are going to agree with me, and some people have their opinions and be negative towards me, but I don't care. This is my page, and this is my opinion on different things in life. If you don't like it, don't follow me. But you're entitled to your opinion. Post it below, but keep it respectful. That's it. I've trained, baby.